I could smell the Java, Solo and its surrounding regions. I could feel the pace and the pulse. The colors, the motifs, the people, the sounds, it's all there. And in Indonesia, it's so diverse.
We're about to step into the world of Indonesian textiles. And who better to show us how it's done than Josephine Obin Komara, the creative force behind Bin House. Known for her exquisite weaving and batik, Obin continues to carve out a space for her work in the contemporary world of textile design. Obin, how do you do?
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
You must be Anthony. This is where I work and this is where I live.
Aha.
Come.
Yeah.
Thank you. For me, batik is a technique. The technique of applying motifs onto a piece of cloth. Yeah. Not making the cloth itself. I call myself tukang kain, cloth maker, because I start from scratch. I spin, I weave, and I do batik or whatever cloth manipulation that can be done to it. Batik is penmanship, but you don't use pen, you use chanting, yeah? The copper funnel with the bamboo handle. You dip it in the wax, hot, so it's melted, and you drag. The part which is covered by the wax, that when you dye, the dye doesn't enter. Very often people look at batikers and they think that batikers are drawing the patterns. No. Batik is a wax-resist dye. The part that you wax is the part that the dye doesn't enter. And if you have 8 colors, what you do is you wax, you dye, you boil, de-waxing, and then you dry it. And then you say, what is the next color I want to dye now? Red. You cover every part, which is, you don't want the red to enter.
Okay, yeah.
And you do it, and you do it, and you do it until it's 8 times. So when people tell me, can I wash this? Batik has gone through death in the boiling. I mean, you know, like...
To get to this point.
I'm a cloth maker.
Okay.
So I started weaving cloth, raw silk. Plain, and then checks, and then stripes, and then ikat. Raw silk is very thick, so it was used usually for interior, like upholstery, curtains, and stuff. Maybe I was doing the right thing at the right time in 1979, but the Hilton Hotel was being built, Mandarin Hotel. They couldn't find any interior fabric. You had to import, but what I was making doesn't even exist, not even for import. So I was making bed covers, curtains, lampshades. So I had a little industry going.
Yeah, you took off.
I guess I went crazy.
Yeah.
I collected all the lampshade makers from Jalan Kebon Siri. There's a little street there, and where all the lampshade makers used to be. And I brought them over to the garage at home, and we made lampshades, and we made this, and we made that. And then I went on weaving and weaving and weaving. And then the fabric from very thick got to be very thin. I had 2 big chests, 2 antique chests. One was full of weavings from the outer islands, from Sulawesi, from Batak, from everywhere. And one chest was full of antique batiks. And I looked at all the weavings, which I was trying to redo the techniques. And I saw all the batiks. Mind you, by that time, I could already weave very, very fine, thin silk, see-through, transparent, but very thin. So in my mind's eye, I saw a very thin piece of cloth, hand-spun, hand-woven, with a batik motif on top. This was the moment when batik entered my life. I've always loved it, but I've never done it.
Yeah.
all the vintage batiks that you see, all the old antique batiks that you see are on cotton. Indonesia does not produce cotton. The cottons were a result of bartering with China, India, and England. For me, being able to do the hand weaving, Indonesian, and then doing the batik on it, putting it together, for me, it was like putting Indonesia together by doing this one thing, gitu. People collect diamonds. I collect feathers from Kalimantan. Look at this.
Oh.
Look at
So
this.
I asked, where does the inspiration come from?
Well,
and
that's
all
it.
you had to do was put this
There.
incredible thing here and say no more.
These are some of the collection that I have.
Oh, look at this.
These are from Kalimantan birds and sometimes from Aceh, Sumatra, but wild birds. We don't kill the birds to get the feathers, okay?
Good.
But I sometimes think about running after them and pulling them out. No, they fall off, you know. I'm just borrowing it, inspired by it, and putting it on my body. I mean, if the bird can have a motif like this, I mean, why can't
Why can't we all?
I'm sitting down here stuck in a traffic jam. The sky is dark. And then suddenly you look, oops, the street lamps are on. And I notice that the street lamps are yellow. And the part which the lamps are there, the light is there, the yellow dots are compact. But then as they go out, the dots are more scattered and scattered until you see the dark sky. And that I put into the cloth.
Yeah.
For me, design is like music. It's a whole orchestra. The this, the dots, the lines, the dashes, the this, it's a whole symphony. It has to feel good. You know, I said 15 years ago, I was talking to my late husband. He's an academic. And I said, you know, Ronnie, I said, I like the word architecture. Because cloth for me is like architecture, because you know weaving, you have to warp. You set the foundations and then you weave in the weft. And that's the walls, you know what I mean, the cornice, the stuff and everything.
So you see the structure in the cloth.
Yes.
And you build it out in those layers.
Yeah.
Like it's a three-dimensional,
Yes.
four-dimensional
Yes.
emotional space.
Everything starts from two singular things, and I don't know what you do to it, and then it becomes one entity.
I will never see a piece of cloth as 2D ever again. There's so much in this. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Terima kasih kembali.
Obin and her incredibly talented team of artisans, intricate world of pattern and cloth is clearly about more than just the traditional arts of weaving. In her words, it's a reinvention of tradition. To me, it feels like her designs ripple with a modern energy and breath. And when you see her fabrics on a person, there is no doubt they just come to life.
This is the area where the production is made. The paper's all made here. Everything you see is done by hand. We bring the raw material, comes in. The raw material is all waste paper from offices, schools, hotels, restaurants, businesses all around Bali. They'll call us up and say, hey, we've just cleaned out all our files. Do you want our paper? We say, sure. We take it, we bring it, and we bring it into a little room over there where it then gets sorted into different grades. Our principle here is to not use any chemicals or bleaches to clean the paper. So we sort it first with different degrees of inks and colours and grades of paper get sorted. And from there, we then tear it all up by hand.
By hand?
By hand,
Okay.
yeah. It's all done by hand.
Yeah.
And then it's all mashed up by hand and boiled for a couple of hours to clean it. Again, clean it as much as we can.
Okay.
When you have raw paper, from virgin paper from trees, the fibre is very long, and that creates a stronger paper. When you're using paper as your base product, as you mash it up, the fibres break up and become short. So the less time that you've got it in a blender, the stronger the fibres will be. We want to use machinery as little as possible. We want to keep this a very handmade product, labour-intensive and handmade. And we also know that by using the machine less, we get a stronger base paper.
So there's a benefit on both sides.
Yes, absolutely.
And then from the, what do we call it, the pulp, the mash?
Yeah, we call it the pulp.
The pulp?
And so the pulp then goes over from the buckets into big bathtubs over here, which are by the side of the paper making. And then we pour some of that into a water bath. Depending on how much pulp you put into the water bath, depends on the thickness of the paper. So and then from there, we do we dip it the same way they did 3,000 years ago in China.
Yeah, right. I guess at that point too, there's a quality control dimension. How thick is the paper? How heavy is it?
Absolutely. That's a skill set that you learn in hand dipping. There is a process in hand dipping where you're tilting the frame back and forth, still in the water, to let the pulp balance out and become even. And that's a skill that the girls have learned. And they know just by touch and by weight and the heaviness of the frames how even the paper's going to be and how thick it's going to be. There's many ways to do it. You can create a post of paper on cloth, and then the water gets pressed out of it. We created this way where it's pressed onto the cloth, which is set on a sheet of glass. And then it just helps it with the smoothness and the efficiency, the speed of making the paper.
Right. So then onto the screens, I guess. And then the screens come to, what, the drying racks?
Okay, so every screen contains 3 sheets of paper of that A3 size. And then from there, we lift those screens, just very lightweight, so they're lifted off and placed in the drying racks here. And by the afternoon, they're dry. And we can then peel off the paper and make our stacks of paper.
Do you dry everything naturally?
Yes, all by hand. It's all dried in the sun. Obviously we've got covers to protect us against the rain. The rainier the day, the less the paper production. So we love sunny days. And we get a lot done. It's a classic, make hay story. When the sun is shining, we're really producing a lot of paper.
Actually, how big is the team?
There's 25, more or less, 25 staff that work in the various departments. But the paper making team, there's probably about 8 of them. But once they finish here in the morning, then they go over across to the production side and start making all the material, all the products. We're always there for each other. But I think they're probably more helpful to me than I am to them. During COVID, we had the opportunity to expand and move our paper-making department to a bigger area. So we found this lovely little home here next door, and we've made our paper-making facility out the back there.
I'm walking past, what is this, a temple? And
This is the Merajang. It's called Merajang, which is the family temple.
The family temple.
Very important in every Balinese family to have that. And yeah, this is a Balinese home, basically, and we're very lucky to be able to make paper behind it. This is our production department here. After we've made the paper, it comes over here, we make it into beautiful things.
Everyone's very busy.
That you can see, everybody's really busy. They're making journals, packaging, all kinds of products, and all of it's made from our handmade paper.
Look at this. This is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is this your design?
This is a process that we came up with where we take fresh petals from different plants, laminate it onto the handmade paper with some tissue paper over the top.
Beautiful. These colours, I mean,
Yeah.
are these coming from the actual material you're recycling, or are you introducing colour?
No, these are introduced. This is a terracotta, so we're using ground up bricks and different things, and this is indigo.
It's got such a fabulous texture.
Yeah. Well, this texture...
It's quite rough.
This is the texture of our paper that you saw. We made it earlier.
Yeah.
So that's when we peel it off the frame.
Yeah.
That's what we're left with. That's the actual texture of our paper.
All of this sort of intricacy that's in here.
All of these papers are textured as we're making the paper. So they're done with various fibres. Thank you. We've got... This one's done with a pandan leaf.
Yeah.
This one uses bougainvillea flowers. This one uses marigold petals. These ones are textured with... This one, for example, is textured with grated ginger. And
Does that...
no,
I want it to smell.
Yeah, I know, me too. They don't, unfortunately. Sometimes we do them with seeds as well. People have asked us, clients have asked us to make papers with little seeds inside so they can sprout after use.
Wow.
This is where everything's made.
Yeah.
Then upstairs we have a showroom where all our products are on display. For any clients that want to come, anybody that wants to come and see the work we do, it's all on display upstairs.
Your version of sustainability isn't just beautiful materials, it's this whole community that you've built around this idea.
Thank you, yes.
How glorious.
Thank you, yes. That's what we hope to continue with.
Carly started with a fascination for creating beautiful paper. And as an advocate for sustainability, perhaps the most compelling argument that she can make are the beautiful paper products themselves and the community that's gathered around them, one that is set to continue into the future. Which really all just goes to show design is a powerful agent for change. And sometimes making change in the world can be a beautiful thing. Gondwana, central India, is the historic hub of tribal art-making communities. Artisans here have been making and selling their wares for millennia. In this part of the world, designs and techniques are steeped in culture and taught through the generations. Today, we meet one art lover who is helping these artisans to evolve their designs and art practices and embrace new concepts to take their art to a wider audience.
I've been an art lover, I've been a collector of art, I do my own art a little bit, but you know, I thought, how do I take this further by supporting artists who've not had a chance to get to the mainstream of the art business. In India, there is a lot of talent, a lot of different kind of art. The techniques have been passed on from forefathers to fathers to children, and it continues, you know, in generations. So I decided to focus on the tribals, which most of the tribals live in the central part of India, which is called, a geological term for the central part is Gondwana. It's the Gondwana region. I know that Australia also has a Gondwana region. And remarkably, the central part of India and Australia were joined together before the breakup of continents. Right? So that's how both of them have got this Gondwana region. A lot of our traditional art is based on folklore, it's based on mythology, it's based on festivals that they've got, or day-to-day life of the tribes.
Deep stories, yeah?
Yes, yes. Several pictures here, but I love to tell a story about this top one here.
Yeah.
So you can see some bulls there.
Yes, yeah.
This is a festival of Pola. It's called Pola. It's a festival of cattle, where the villagers or the tribal communities deck up their cattle, and there is a competition So whosoever cattle is the best dressed, and they would, put on ornaments, they'd put on clothes on the cattle, they'll put some necklaces, or sometimes even paint those cattle, on their skins. So this this series was done under that, on a festival. The Gond tribe has been in existence for centuries. They started doing some art in caves initially, and gradually they moved on to walls of their homes, and then to canvases or paper. I felt that tribal art has got a lot of talent, a lot of technique, but they were stuck in what they've been doing for the last 40, 50, 60 years. They make simple art which they know is going to sell, but they sell it at very low prices. And my approach to them was that, look, let's just explore.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about the outcome. The outcome is our problem. And I think that really helped the artists, because they were thrilled, because it was the first time they could do something without worrying about what will happen to that art. So it was just coming from the heart.
Yeah.
And with the new inputs that they were getting, suddenly they felt, okay, why not try this?
This whole thing really then started from an idea of creating some financial independence so the tribal artists themselves could lean into their traditions more.
Yes.
Rather than retreat into copying themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But typically we would go to local areas, look at what the skill sets were, and try and see how we could make a difference and get them to earn better living. And where we could help these artists to get a better livelihood, do better art. And as the project got off the ground, we also started discovering more and more tribal communities which were also doing their art, which is very different. As you can see, some of this art is very different from this, because this is very bold, done by the same community, but from a different part of the country. Indian art is more on, I would say, figuratives. There is so much culture. There is so many festivals that we've got. This one, for example, is...
this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Moharat. When we have any wedding, for example, before the wedding, they will have a Moharat for that wedding. Or many other festivals, they'll have a Moharat. And during the Moharat, you typically see an elephant, and a mahout on top of the elephant. They'll come, and do the inauguration, which is called Vishwaroop. Vishwaroop is the world's being inside Vishnu. So he's got everything inside him. Humans, all the animals, all the, trees and birds, they're all part of
universe from inside.
Yeah. So that's the story behind that particular artwork.
Timeless India, with its rich art culture, rooted in tradition, is moving to embrace contemporary design and innovation. And now we see a new art space emerging, a modern tribal aesthetic designed to expand a cultural legacy and share it with the world.